playing my videos from my own video from YouTube because, you know, you can kind of tell I could never actually...
50% of Queensland
sorry.
are down.
Holy fuck, man. Sorry about that. All right, so, yeah, that call that came through on my daughter's tablet was from my daughter at her friend's house. Anyways, this is a double episode. This is the second episode. So, but yeah, I'm outside putting lights on, and I'm hearing these commercials come on. So I figured the YouTube picked up. So that's about all I have to say. That's all I had to say. I've already said the beginning part was my newest video on YouTube, and the last part was my second oldest video on YouTube. I already got a copyright claim for the first one, so that's fucking fun. But anyways, so since this is a podcast, and the podcast has been longer than YouTube videos, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of what my next YouTube video is going to be about, and then my podcast is going to be about. And as I explained in the first part of this video, I used Thunder Wizard's old video where he was blaming the universe for his circumstance. And I said that if you blame the universe or anybody else for your circumstances, especially if you're a spiritual teacher, a guru, you don't fucking know anything. And the very slight chance that you know that the universe is inside you, therefore you can affect the universe. So by contrast, if you are trying to teach people how to speak to the universe, well, it's basically trying to teach people how to speak to themselves. Okay, that's the important part. And what my next video is going to be about, since I am telling you guys that you are the universe, you're a part of the universe, you have the 7 planets within you, as the universe above you has as well within it. So you are a universe. Therefore, if you can successfully talk to that part of you, then you can change your reality that way. The next video, what it's going to be about, is simply going to be why I think we're in this time of... One second. Sorry about that. My wife was looking for the tablet. Why I think we are... How am I going to put this? So, the newest video by Thunder Wizard was actually very, very well. I really liked it. And he may have shit on, I think, Western Magic once in there or something to that effect. But for the most part, most of the things he said were very much in line with the things I said that he should no longer do. And it really seemed like he was making an effort to not do those things. So, you know, I spoke in reality, and then it happened. This is what I'm trying to talk about. But within that video, he said something to the effect of, what age are we in? Are we in the golden age, Kali Yuga? And I forget the ages names that he mentioned. So forgive me for that part, but he doesn't know. Technically, he said, if you listen to some Vedic astrologers, they'll tell you we're in this age where people can just speak things into existence, or we're in the age where we're the furthest from the light, from the all, from God, and we have to be more physical. And what I received yesterday, whenever I was talking about this stuff, I didn't include it in my episode because I didn't want to go off on that more than what I was talking about. But what I received at the same time as everything about the universe being inside you, and how that's how you can tell if someone really isn't that far along as a teacher, if they blame the universe or think of the universe as a separate being than themselves, which, you know, that's like where you start. You start thinking the universe is something you have to affect, but then you realize that the universe is inside you, and all you have to do to affect the outside universe is affect your inside universe. And then from there, you can affect everything and anything, from the people around you to everything in reality. But while I was doing that, what came to me was we had the last 2,000 years to prepare for where we are today. So the reason we have the internet as fast as it is, and I mean, there's many reasons. This is not just some yes, no, right, left, fucking linear concept. But the point is, we have the communications right now to get this information around the world faster than ever before. And if we fully take advantage of how we can teach each other how to affect our universe by talking to the universe within us, you know, universe inside you, good channel it used to be anyways. If you can affect that universe inside you, you can affect your reality. If you affect your 7 planets within you, you know, you affect the 7 planets without you and all around you and all the people within you. We are in that time right now. And I said that. If you go to my Age of Aquarius podcast, it's exactly what that's about. The Age of Aquarius, to me, is coming to the realization that we can all speak into a reality, which we could do from the get-go. But now we're actually aware of it. And some people may mock it. Some people might want to believe it and say they believe it. But really don't believe it, but it's fucking true. And that's what we're coming into right now as we speak. So that's what my next video is going to be about. So I don't know when that's good bitch is going to be up, because I doubt I'm going to have time to record it today. So it might be a couple days if I decide to record it on the road tomorrow the way to work. But it's going to be about why that is and all the symbolism I use to get these instructions into my mind. Whether I'm banishing something or I'm bringing something to me, doesn't matter. Whatever I decide to do, I'm going to give you all the symbolism, all the formulas that I use to affect my universe, thus the universe around me and the people's universes around me, aka my reality. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for checking this out. This is a double episode, but I hope you enjoyed it and have yourselves a great fucking day.
Sexuality. It's a lot of thinking here. I don't know the answer to it, but maybe let's see. Question: did our spirituality also evolve along our natural progress, or we already came to this earth knowing how to connect with our spiritual self? It's an interesting question. My first thought is, how does that knowledge help you? I don't know that it does. I think it's just an interesting question. It just depends on how you look at it. For me, when I think about evolution, I think of it that we as souls, as spiritual entities, were here before life was even evolved. We were involved in creating this earth. We were creating a video game, software that we could go and put our avatar in and learn and grow. And I want to start from the very beginning. So you started as an amoeba, and then you helped create, because you think about it, I mean, life evolves like it's got a plan. And then there are these evolutionary links that sort of die out. And it's experimentation. It's like you can see that, something is experimenting and goes, oh, that works really good. Oh, but it's too specific and it dies out. For instance, now, as far as we know, there's only one bipedal hominid on the planet, which is modern humans. Unless you believe in Bigfoot, which, that's a whole other subject. But, for as far as we can see with our physical eyes, most of us, human beings are the only bipedal hominid walking on the planet. But, you go back 1 million years, 2 million years, and there were like so many different species of bipedal hominids walking around. And that was experimentation. And I think we were experimenting with different types of avatar bodies and we chose the human body. And we developed the human brain so that we could then create all this other stuff, cities and all that, so that we can evolve. So I think we are the force behind evolution. The interesting thing about evolution is that Darwin was very religious, and it's so ironic that that religious people use evolution as some antithesis to religion. When all you have to do is change your perspective slightly, and all of a sudden, evolution is how God created the world. It's, and they have this. I mean, that would silence so many critics if people said, no, the Bible talks about this 7-day thing. It's not 7 literal days. It's 7 epochs of evolution, and God did it. Nobody would be able to say anything against them. My dad was a physicist, and he was a Christian, and that's how he looked at it. He said, no, in fact, I can tell you, in the first day it says God did this. Well, if you look at the evolution of the universe, the first day was this. On the second day, this. If you look at the evolution of the universe, an epoch of, a day isn't 24 hours, it's 24 billion years. That's all it would take, is just the slightest, and they're so stupid that they've painted themselves into this corner where now all you have to do is do the slightest bit of research and you find out that it's impossible that the universe was built in 7 days, and that obviously evolution exists. But the idea is evolution happening by itself, or is there some intelligence behind it? I think the intelligence is us. We did it. So this is kind of an intellectual question, which ultimately means nothing. But Did our spirituality evolve along? I don't know, because if you look at the way the Vedics talk about it, they talk about epochs, and that we, depending on who you talk to, we're either in Kali Yuga or we're in Dvapara Yuga. Either way, we're far away from the golden age. The golden age of existence is when people don't need speech and they can just intend everything with their thoughts. And so, do we go in cycles? Kali Yuga is when we're so far from the divine center of our galaxy that we need to, be really physical. So I don't have the answer to that question. It's an interesting one to think about. And ultimately, does it really matter? Infinite 369 question. So you're saying that we also used to be dinosaur. Okay, yeah, and what's your point? Emu Singh's question. Weird, I'm not sure what I said that was propaganda. You wrote... because you're naming all these people. You're naming all of these people and these politicians. And yeah, and it's all nonsense. Look, here's the fact of the matter. We've just got a bunch of people who want power on both sides of the aisle. And so I responded to, you threw out some names there, which I responded to. So maybe I looked at it wrong. But this is why it's good not to talk to me about politics, because it's just, I'm just very reactive to the fear that goes into that. So maybe I misunderstood you, Emu Sings. Sorry about that. But now I didn't read the rest of your question. So, but do I think the McDonald's logo is a sigil? No, I don't think that. People just, this is again, the only way to think like that is if you believe that you're a limited, tiny little being. Because then the McDonald's logo is a sigil, and everything has a symbol to it, and it's some deep, dark, symbol of, who they are. We don't even know who they are. And the people that we do know about, Hillary Clinton is a reptilian who feeds on children underneath a pizza parlor. It just gets so nuts. And it's just, yeah. Anyway. No, you said that name and you said a few others. So, anyway, but you might be talking about something I don't know about. Yeah. So you threw out some other big trigger names too as well. Anyway, let's see. What else? I don't see any other questions here. All right, so you know what I have to do. If you don't ask any questions, I either have to end the...
Morning, everybody. So fucking early right now. I've never recorded at 6:30 a.m. in my life. But, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. So yeah, I'm on my way to fucking work right now. Oh shit, are you gonna be able to see me? There we go, that's a little bit brighter. I don't know, maybe it's just my eyes, I can't see much right now. Oh, there's the darkness on my screen. Oh, there we go. That's a whole lot better there. Anyways, wow. Okay. So what you just heard was me initially. That was the ending of my podcast, in case you didn't hear it. In case you're one of those people that don't watch my podcast, which is fucking fine. Watch it now, you want to. Who am I to tell anybody what the fuck to watch? But if that's the case, and you didn't hear that, so that's what this episode's going to be about. So that was the beginning part. And the next part was, sorry about that, my lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram wanted to come on, or lesser banishing ritual of lesser ritual of banishment by, anyways, was trying to come on, so, anyways, so, I'm gonna sound like a suck ass here, but, God, he's made 2 videos this weekend, right, so it probably works all week or something like that, kind of like me. I did make a video all week. Saturday made a video, Sunday made a video. not even actually. Saturday made a video, Sunday made my podcast, which was recording my video onto my podcast. So I didn't even do what he did. He did more than I did. And I'm doing one today, being Monday, but I don't know when you guys are gonna get this. Like, I could be releasing this tonight, or this could be released like next fucking Friday, or this Friday coming up. So I don't fucking know. We'll see what happens. If we get enough content and it's good, then great. And you know, the reason I have my videos are almost like an hour long is because I gotta at least have enough content in there that I'm happy about. So I make a video. If I make a short video, if my goal is to do a half an hour video, which I very seldom will do, but that's my goal, then I'll record for half an hour, and there's got to be at least 15 minutes in there of content that I'm like, okay, that was good, that was decent. If I don't have that, if it's like, okay, it's just me talking, like, oh, I thought there was some good there, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's done, like a minute of like nothingness, then I'm not going to put this on there. It's just not going to happen. So what you'll see is if I blabber on a little intro about my life for like 10, 15 minutes, and then it's like, okay, it's going to be probably a long video, but now I got to get like half an hour after that, and I didn't even get to a point yet. So then I got to get to the point of what I want to talk about, why it's important, of what I want to say, how it's going to affect you, why it's good to know that, and like, depending if I'm tearing down wizards like I did. And I mean, I don't even think I tore him down. Like, I really don't think I did anything bad to the man. I think I do nothing but say good things about him, except for the fact that I thought that he was in scarcity. His previous videos up until this point is all I was really saying. You know, I'm not saying he doesn't know anything about the universe and his tradition. I think he knows quite a bit. I think he can bring you half the way there. In his videos, the way he talks about the universe being like a separate being than himself, but at the same time, he kind of talks about it being the same, like his thoughts on evolution in his newest video, very much similar to what I think happened, with a few different details, but in the same sense, like I say the same thing all the time too, something you can't prove. Like, what the fuck's the point of thinking about something you can't prove, right? And that's what I've been saying about his whole, like, if we go to the moon or not thing, and flat earth versus globe earth. Like, I mean, I think globe earth is more likely. I think sending something on the moon is likely to have happened. But ultimately, I can't prove either one of those fucking things without a shadow of a doubt. Just like I can't prove evolution without a shadow of a doubt. I can read what happened, but I mean, if you read all the literature that said the world was flat before they realized it was round, you know, when they thought we got to the edge of the ocean, we'd fall off the earth. So they stayed away from that, which is where probably all the literature about the firmament comes from, was prior to that, and they probably cut out different chosen things. Anyways, doesn't matter. But point is, if you would have read that literature, you would be like, holy fuck, though, this is fucking flat, you know? You would think that. And then all of a sudden, they found out there's a curvature and whatever the case is. I'm not saying one of these theories is real or isn't real. All I'm saying is a couple details that aren't there or are there, or new information revealed, and it can throw off everything. And what does it take to make that happen? Well, it takes all of our minds deciding collectively that this isn't true or this is true. So we have our objective reality. We have everything that's been real thus far that most people know about. And there's like the collective consciousness. This is how I see it. It may not be accurate, but I'm going to explain it to you real fast because it's going to be important for what I'm about to talk about today. Collective consciousness. Everybody likes to think it's everybody on this earth together. But there's a breakdown within your country, within your city, within your, you know, where your TV, where you watch, with the things you know what I mean? We are all connected, yes. Everybody on this earth, fucking right. We can connect to these tribes, we can connect to whatever the case is. But if you don't have a link, if you don't see them, if you don't know where they are, if you don't see their lives or anything like that, it's very hard for you to connect to. Think about, I don't know if you ever watched X-Men, but X-Men number 2, I think he's in the earlier ones, like the ones that predated, that are about Magneto before he was the old man and all that. Mystique, the blue girl, while there's the one where the little blue dude, the circus dude from X-Men 2, but he's in the previous ones when he's a kid with Scott's older brother gets killed. Anyways, that blue dude. And the number 2 one, you got to teleport place to place. Well, he can't teleport anywhere unless he can see. So unless he's been inside the other side of that wall, he can't teleport in there because he can get stuck in the fucking wall. Okay? That's how I'm talking. That's kind of what I'm talking about when it comes to your consciousness. Collective consciousness, for you to tap into something, unless you know about it, learn about it, you can't get it. You say, well, that's kind of weird, boy. Why can't I tap into these fucking tribes people and all that without knowing them? Well, because you don't know about it. You haven't expanded that, your consciousness to that. So whenever the baby is born, it's all subconscious. But then they get their consciousness after watching their immediate family for how many years doing these things, blah, 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 blah. They pick up the habits that they see you guys do every day. So you go off to work, they get babysit, they come back, you come back home from work, play with them, talk with them, blah, 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 blah. They develop a routine, they go to bed, they wake up, they go to the bathroom, they eat, all that shit. Okay? But once they have their consciousness, as they meet other kids, and they learn new things, their consciousness expands, and that's the point of school to a certain extent, is to teach them a broad range of all these different things to have their consciousness expanded enough that they can be useful in the workforce. So, but until you know about witchcraft, until you know about ceremonial magic, until you know about shamanism, until you know about all these spiritualities outside of Christianity or Islam or Judaism or whatever the case is, you don't know there's more to just the devil and God and all this shit. And I mean, my mom, my grandmother, all my generations maybe, besides because even my grandmother that was a witch, for God's sake, she was a Christian too, but she wasn't allowed to study that. Like, it was strict for the longest time. This shit was so strict for so fucking long. No one could reach outside of our consciousness to try to study this shit. Yet there were still people with abilities. Like my grandmother, I swear by this. Like, she had these abilities. I'm not just talking out of my ass. I'm trying to make myself feel special on my grandmother's gifts. Like, that is something I would not fucking do. But I know this is real. I know this is true. And my dad got his, I forget what it was, but one of his DUIs or whatever the case was. Whenever I was a kid, I remember him crying in the shower after that or somewhere. And he broke down, he was really sad. And, my mom ended up telling me why I was so sad that day. Is because, he remembered his mother calling out to him before he got in the car that day, hearing her voice in his head, Does that mean she was really there? And she was already passed on at this point? But she was alive in his head, enough to tell him to smile the fuck up, man. Anyways, point is, I think my dad at one point ended up telling me something like every time he did something wrong, he heard his mother's voice before he did it, kind of warning him. So, anyways, but without our consciousness, without you learning about other things first, you can't tap into those consciousness. We're all connected. We're always all connected. That's a given. That's the way it works. We're connected to those people right off the hop. But until you know they're there, until like I said, until that guy can stand there on the wall, until you know they're there, you can't connect to anything. You can't connect to anything. But once you do know they're there, you can connect to it. Got a message the other day from somebody. Maybe I'll read it after on my break or something on lunch to you guys. Just smoke some fucking monkey shit. But very sweet. Oh, well, it was the message about the books. Okay, so someone asked me for the books. They already gave out the books, and they already read the message. So, anyways, I said thanks, and now it's time to get to the work, get started or something like that. So I ended up leaving like a fucking book, like a message back to this person. Man, I can talk, especially if I'm not doing this all week because I'm working, bud. Well, this was like Saturday before I decided to write my videos, I think, maybe Friday night, one of those two. Before I started my videos, I decided to message her back, say no problem, and because I just trying to give her advice on something that she didn't ask for advice, and so I just ended up right out of that line. I would be surprised if after my comment she fucking unsubscribed from me. Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But I was just trying to be helpful. But in a manner of speaking, I said, yeah, no problem. you have any other questions or any other concerns, or you ever want to know anything or something in these books or any other books that's kind of unclear or confusing, send me a text, let me know, shoot me a comment or shoot me whatever email, just let me know how I can help. And I don't know how I got on the topic about how I was referring to her kind of start part of the comment. And I said, yeah, when it comes to starting, if you do start, you're not sure where to start or what to do, and it's kind of overwhelming. You see all this information and you don't know exactly where to start. Just start with something that you do understand. And then I use, because in case you doesn't know what I meant by that, I use the example of me. And for me, when I just had to start, I mean, I guess it would be more like a law of attraction, starting to write shit down, but really when it came to the magic stuff, it was designing my temple room, which was my garage at the time. It was my first temple room. I went from the garage to basement to bedroom to basement, and in between there I used the bathroom. I still use the bathroom. I have a portable temple that I bring to the bathroom when I shower. Since I'm already naked, I might as well do my fucking shit in the shower. I make sure the water, when I first start fucking east, it's right behind me. The shower's going down west, so I use like the actual shower water as like elemental fucking symbol. Why the fuck not? Bring a candle, incense, put that in the fucking north, and in the east and the south, And Earth is all around you, so you really don't want to signify Earth a lot much, but, anyways. So, for her, it was that for me, So, I set up my temple room, I set up an altar. I didn't really have ritual tools at this time, but I had a whole bunch of candles, which, I realized later that I needed just one white candle. But I had everything all backwards. First of all, I wasn't doing lesser banishing, which is super important at the beginning. We didn't even know how to make a circle, so I made a physical circle, like I said, of Solomon sigil, which was a protection one, which is very similar to that medicine wheel thing that Thunder Wizard had not too long ago. And I would do the middle pillar, and then I would focus on my sigil, and I didn't have tarot cards at the time, which is not something you need, but it was part of the practice. So, and I just started, and then because I started, this is what I want to focus on, because it relates to what I was just saying. Because I started, I showed devotion to what I wanted to do. So up until that point, I'm reading, I'm learning, and then I'm learning about magic, I start learning more about witchcraft, and I go back to law of attraction, and I watch conspiracy, and then I get stuck in conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy. So then I start going into new agey stuff, just about feel good stuff and third eye stuff or whatever stuff. So my attention's all scattered. It's like I'm telling my subconscious mind, or whatever the case is, if I even get my conscious out of the way long enough, I'm telling it I want to know about all these things. I say, well, man, this is too much. But it'll still give you a little bit of everything, but it'll be so small that you'll not even know that you're getting an abundance of information from anywhere, because it's going to give you all these different topics. Anyways, but the minute you stop watching all those things in a row and you take action, okay, this is where Thunder Wizard's fucking shit comes in handy. The minute you decide to take action and you say, okay, this is gonna be where I'm gonna do my altar shit, at least for the time being. I'm gonna get a fucking candle. I'm gonna start the ceremonial fucking magic shit. I'm gonna start this witchcraft shit. I'm gonna start this shaman shit. I'm serious about this. This is me starting, okay? You do it one day, you do it wrong, it doesn't matter. You do it wrong. Doing it wrong is better than not doing it at all. Just fucking do it as shit as you want. You have my honest to God word that nothing bad will happen to you. Okay? Especially in the neophyte. That's why the neophyte's designed like that. Okay? It's designed because you're not calling anything to you, therefore you have no risk of anything latching onto you or whatever. All you're doing is making a circle. You're trying to eventually visualize yourself in your mind, in the astral, where you can create things to come to you by creating energy for the thing that you want to come to you. And you are working with the archangels that are going to protect you in case you ever do call something to you, and if they're there just to protect you in general from your own self-negative talk, from all the bullshit people are going to say about you and want to say about you and make you feel like shit and all that psychic energy and all those thoughts from other people about how much of a piece of shit you are. They'll be by your quarters the whole time, is how I envision it, and they just fucking, Archangel Michael just slices that shit as it comes at you. And if you decide to say something, your own self-negative talk, he slices that shit before it has a way to affect you. That's how I look at it. That's the way my shit can affect me. Regardless if you think that's true or not, I don't give a fuck. But anyway, so that's in manner of speaking what I said to her. I didn't give her all that information, but it was like, just start it wrong, and once you start it, you're gonna get an abundance of information about what you're focused on, because that's the point of just starting. People are armchair occultisms, and they just take in information. And I was there, man. I did this shit. I know exactly what I'm talking about, because that was exactly what I did. Just taking information after information after information, thinking I know something, thinking I can do like minimal work without it. But it wasn't until I decided, okay, I'm going to do this every day. And I can't tell you exactly when. I can't tell you if it was 2 days, 5 days. But it wasn't long after that I heard Frater promote the book, promote the book by Liam Thomas Christopher. And then I realized that I needed to do the Lesser Vanishing Ritual of the Pentagram. And then after that, I realized that I need to actually draw my circle. And so I found the book, All in the Rework of Self Transformation. And then I found, you know what I mean? I got all that information. Okay, this is how I do it properly now. Perfect. Felt like an idiot for a little bit, yeah, no doubt. But in the same sense, it didn't matter. Now I knew what to do. And then, because I focused on an area and I showed devotion, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to learn. Well, then I started getting information about how to do this shit. You know what I mean? How to do it properly, how to do it over and over and over again, how to make it work, all that shit, okay? And that's kind of what I was trying to tell her in the email. The minute you start, you read these books and you get the information you need, but then the minute you actually start the work, start doing the work, once you get a good understanding of it, you feel comfortable, you have the time carved out, which if you're waiting for like some magical time or something in your life to just like open up for you so you can do this shit, I mean, that's not really going to happen. You're going to have to make the time. It's like when they say like, oh, wait for the perfect time to have kids, or wait for the perfect time to get married. It's like, there is no perfect time. You fucking just go ahead and do it, and then you fucking live with it after, and you make it work. If you're going to wait for that perfect time, you'll be waiting forever, because when is the perfect time? Because everything can start going good and you can actually have time, but then you're going to find some other way or some other thing to focus on at that point, and it's like, well, you had the perfect time there, but and I said, if you decide not, but that was my whole point. So I was like, if you end up starting, and you start a couple little steps here and there, and you think you should be doing more, or you're not doing it right, or whatever, like, don't be too hard on yourself. Just because that was one of my problems, was once, some days I could barely get a fucking ritual done. And I feel like a piece of shit, and I would just scrape by and get it done. Other days, wake up with discipline and want to do this right off the hop, so then I go and do it, and then it was like, okay, well, I got more time, I should do another one, I should do another one, I should do another one. And it was like, coming from the mindset that, well, if I do extra today, then I won't need to do any this other day, or whatever the case is. And it's like, no, now I'm giving my excuse not to do it another day, which wasn't good, but I still ended up doing it. I got hard on myself. I started thinking like, I should do more because I can do more, and then I got lost. Okay, nothing but a cult, which served its purpose to program my mind a lot faster that the occult is real, and that, like I said, like, all I took in was occult knowledge non-stop by Frater Xavier, by Birch, and anything they referred to or something that came on by surprise, by accident, high percentage magic, New Age stuff, but not really New Age, you know what I mean, like by people like Greg Braden. But anyways, the point is, I took in nothing but occult. According to Spotify and my Spreaker, it's been like 5 years now I've been doing my show on YouTube. So that's like 5 years, Wow. Well, 3 years non-stop, and these last 2 years were like really getting into my show, and got down on my practice. Oh my God. But anyways, it's alright. Copper just drove by me. I'm only going 125. Sorry, 150. No, 105, and I'm in an 80, so it's 25 over. But anyways, I'm gonna make sure he's not gonna call ahead to anybody, if there is anybody ahead. I don't think they can bug you for 25 over. Like, put that in perspective on a highway that's 100 miles per hour, or kilometers rather. 100 kilometers per hour. Most people go 125, and actually, we have highways that are 110 here now. Yeah, so the one I'm on is a 110 highway. So, but anyways, so by me taking it in the cold non-stop, it did a lot of good. Okay, it did a lot of good for my mentality, for me to be able to call things to me now, whatever the case is. And I got to keep doing my practice. If I stop doing my practice, I will lose my power. Now, I don't believe that completely, because people are performing this regardless, right? People are calling things into their life. They're making their circumstances. I'm aware of making my circumstances, so as long as I continue to watch myself talk, do my lesser vanishing rituals and shit like that, so that I can make sure any self-talk that does get through, well, myself, my parents, whoever, people, friends, whatever, any thoughts, psychic attack, whatever does get through, I mean, it has no effect on me. I slice all that shit up. Not to mention, it's for when you are in your mind, you're purifying it, purifying your own mind, you're banishing anything out of your fucking mind first, and then you're invoking the energies that you want to use. Whether it's the time of the month when the moon is waxing, which today's the full moon, everybody. Shout out to the full moon. I don't even know the time yet, so I was just making a candle last night. I fucking crashed out to work today, and now I'm fucking here on the road. Now I feel like a piece of shit when I just remember I didn't make something with the fucking full moon. Damn it, I hope it's tonight and not like right now. Fuck. Anyways, so yeah, if I banish all the negativity, bad energy, harmful energy, painful energy, maleficent energy, anything that's, you know, not as my best interest in heart, or anything that's going to do me harm, basically, within my mind or whatever the case is, you know, just get rid of that, you know, anxiety, negative self-talk, any feelings that, you know, come up that, you know, potentially my life isn't as great as it is. Banish all that shit and invoke that I am a happy, lucky person, you know, that there's nothing but beautiful living energy in my house, creativity, whatever. Shit like that, you know, when you do your lesser banishing, you want to banish away anything that's around that is going to harm you. So any bad, harmful energies or entities that could be around, you know, and get rid of them, or even better, transform them there. That's how I always start my process. But anyways, so, fuck, I don't even know where I left off. But yeah, so that was part of my message to the person that I gave the books to. And I decided, like I said, I went off on that. But the point of all that was to say that when you start focusing on something that you are serious about, so it takes a while. Like I said, you gotta show the devotion, right? You gotta end up showing your mind that, okay, so I'm serious about this. This is what I want to learn about. It won't take long. It depends on what you do after them. So if you go out to your garage or your basement, wherever your temple room is, and you decide, okay, well, I'm going to start practicing magic. I'm going to start practicing magic. I'm going to start doing ceremonial magic. Or I'm going to do this version of witchcraft, and this is kind of the way I'm going to go. Okay, so you start doing that. And as soon as you start doing that, depending on, sorry, I'm passing out here. Doesn't matter whether you're doing it right or wrong, like you continuously do that every day. So if you do it one day and then you don't do it again for a week, you don't do it again for a week, well, that's the same reason why, like, if you go to the gym once a week, you're not going to see results, you know? You're like, fuck, I've been going like all month to the gym once a week, every week, and I still don't have the discipline yet, even though I cast for it. It's like, well, you're only going once a week. I'm like, you're not showing your mind there's 7 days in a week. You want to be serious, try 3 if that's hard, and then maybe you'll start getting the discipline. But I'd say you got to go at least 4 days a week, more than there is in a week. Like, action is part of this, right? And like the magic is the action, which makes this the shortcut normally. But sorry, I lost some thought there. I think I might be late, so I don't know if I should text my box while I'm driving. But anyways, so once you show that you're actually devoted to this and you want to learn this, and you know, like for me, for example, when I was in my room, when I was in there, I didn't know what to cast for yet. I didn't want to cast for money. I remember Frater saying, once I got the system right, you know, I got the information come to me via YouTube. You know, it's not always going to be a booming voice from the sky. You know, it's going to be the path of least resistance, meaning the way that the thing you want will come to you is the way that will have the less ripples, the less effects, the less, you know, the less showing of, you know, magic. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's going to appear in your fucking living room or bedroom, because that's going to be, well, magic's real. That, you know what I mean? It has to come subtly to you to the point where it's so hard to know that it's even magic, which is another way of testing your faith. If you just put it off as fucking, well, whatever, it's just this, then it's like, well, okay, well, you'll let him keep creating his reality in the stupid way he's been doing it since, you know, he doesn't believe that what he's doing, you know? You gotta start having faith that you're really manifesting these things. But regardless of all that, it's gonna take the path of least resistance to you, meaning the least resistance to the people around you for noticing, the least resistance that hopefully no one has to die for you to get money or whatever the case is, shit like that. That's how it's going to play out. That's how it always plays out. So remember that. Like, that's an important lesson. So, and that works the same way for you getting the information for doing the occult stuff. I mean, it's the same fucking thing. For you to receive that information, it's going to take the path of least resistance. So for me, for example, once I showed that I was serious, that I wanted to do ritual and ceremonial magic, because, you know, it gives you a little bit of time to change your mind if you want to change your mind. And once again, it all comes down to the astral. So if you want to create a new habit, my new habit I want to create is going to my garage, doing ceremonial magic. This is something people forget to teach about when they start teaching about learning magic, okay? You have old habits of just watching YouTube over and over again and not taking action. You need to replace that with maybe still watching YouTube half the time, but you also want to take fucking action and go to your garage and do your fucking your rituals, right? So you need to put enough energy in the astral that is now a fucking thing, that you actually created that, and you are now going to be taking this seriously, and you're actually going to go in your garage and do ritual magic. So you start going out there every day, you force yourself to go out there whether you want to or not. And what this is doing is creating it on the astral plane, that this is your new habit. You're using the action to do that. At the same time as you do that, you're doing magic. This is what I did. This is what I was trying to get at. I didn't ask for money yet. I wasn't asking for any money. I was just asking for information to lead me, to guide me, to make sure I'm doing this right, to make sure I get a response, to make sure I get success from this. You know what I mean? Remember how I said I wish for more wishes using the genie option? Well, I was casting magic to successfully give things into my subconscious, to be able to reprogram my subconscious in these ways. This is the kind of magic I was doing in the beginning, which I shouldn't have been doing because I was just in my neophyte. That's what's cast friendly, really, but I was casting to be able to cast better. And, you know, so I was creating energy on the astral by going out there every day, creating this new habit of me going to the garage and doing magic every day. And by doing that, it showed that I was serious, that I wanted this to be my new habit, part of my routine, my ritual, and from there, I get all this information now, all the time. I mean, it doesn't hurt that every day of the week, depending on the god of the week, I'm casting for, you know, something associated with that god. And every single one of them, at some point, I would cast for the ability to get information from them, you know what I mean? In terms of information. So, so now I'm like 160 bucks. I'm trying to make a lot of that time here. I love this guy. Such a good card. Persephone, baby. That's my girl's name, Persephone. I love my card. Persephone. She's a good card. She's Pathfinder, right? So I wanted to go with the P. My wife calls her Priscilla, which is kind of her official name, but her magic name is my official name for her mom. My magic name is, I'm not going to tell you. But her magic name is Persephone. When it's me and her, she's Persephone right now. And I'm telling you, she's got a mind of her own, but she locks my wife out all the fucking time. Like the passenger door, which is no,
sits most of the time. Like she'll drive, but she'll just lock it, or if the whole car will be locked, she'll unlock it. Just the alarm goes off. My wife constantly, and like my wife's so pissed off at me. It's when this shit happens the most. And I'm like, oh, you're mad at me, babe. And when the car talks to her, she's telling me you're mad at me right now. We're doing this. It's just a funny joke, but you know, I've said it on here before. My things that I give personifications to, some things I don't even, but like phone, car, everything takes on its life of its own. If it's mine, it's not so, come on, why isn't my cruise working? I hate my cruise control and work makes the job so much harder. But anyways, so all this was to say that the same way that whenever you're conscious of something, if you're not conscious of something yet, that it's not really relevant in your reality yet. So like, yes, we're connected to everybody all over the world. This is how we get information. Until you know about all this specific, which is where the knowledge and learning and stuff like that comes, which is why it's a good thing. Because the more you know, the more you can tap into other information. You know what I mean? But not all information is always accurate either, so we're gonna keep that in mind. But in the same sense, you need to know this shit before you do not know it. Well, getting all confused and thinking about work and all that crap. But which I really do. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing right now. It's like, you know, the day flies by. It's perfect. But anyways, so far, anyways, like, I'm not saying this is my dream or my passion or whatever the case is, but you know, I only have a certain amount of time I can stay off and try to figure this stuff out. And it's like, I know I'm not going to figure it out after we're recording every day. You know what I mean? Which maybe recording every day is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm supposed to make programs. Who knows? I mean, I'd love that if that was the case, but I don't know. For someone who can talk things into my reality, I have a hell of a time trying to figure out what the fuck I'm supposed to do. I just don't know how to know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Just doing the things I enjoy doing, I want to do, I like doing, and also I'm good at it, you know? That's not to talk myself up, it's just very hard to know what the fuck I should be doing. And to me, that tells me I either have programming I need to remove still, or I have to find a way how all the things that I enjoy doing can somehow connect. I just don't know how that is yet. So, I mean, I gotta figure it out. But I really do enjoy doing construction. And what I'm doing right now, you know. So, who knows? But anyways, so that email was what I was talking about initially. Before that, I was talking about the consciousness because I need to explain how I really truly think that we are entering that part. What you heard Thunder Wizard just say was that when the reality you are, I forget the other name. I can't even remember those things. Whichever one of those that we're in, you know, either way we're far from the golden age, but I don't think that's accurate. Okay? There's no way for me to know, or anybody to know. It's one of those whatever things. But besides this fucking virus that we have going on right now, up until that point, the last like decade or longer was a pretty good time, okay? We had a pretty good fucking go at it. We were having this big, I mean, people were still dying, we were still getting earthquakes, we were still getting fucking things like that, yes, that happens. I mean, death is still there, but I really believe that because of the advancements in the internet and everybody having, you know, phones, the internet all the time, and YouTube, and realizing that you can podcast and listen to other people's testimonials on very intellectual shows or learn while you're on the way to work. I mean, this is just going to enhance our generation. So maybe we're not necessarily in the golden age now where we have to where we can attend a reality like within seconds just by our thoughts, you know what I mean? Maybe that's not very this moment, but I believe we're in the beginning stages of that, because what's happening is that all the parents start getting into spirituality, okay? So like I said, my parents and their parents were very much Christians, okay? Even the ones that were witches were beat, the witchcraft was beaten out of them to not do it. Whereas we're in a day and age where Christianity there's actually a lot of like Christian witches that believe in law of attraction and all that. And as much as the law of attraction may be flawed and all that, it's a good step into the right direction, believing that we can intend a reality. If ultimately we got to get to a place where our thoughts, we can just think stuff and then our reality becomes, whatever, then ultimately it's a good step for everybody to start believing in some manner of way, maybe not completely understanding it, but at least start off with some kind of programming, and it's in everybody's mind that we somehow intend a reality. And there's a specific way that you can take kind of conscious control of your reality by learning how to aim your subconscious at what you want, get information to you, and then decide to put things in your subconscious by strictly focusing on one area at a time, you know what I mean? Well, if we start getting that in everybody's minds, well, the work will be done for itself. Meaning, I play this shit out loud in my house, my wife's hearing it, my kids are hearing it. My kids are going to be built with that programming in them. So it's not going to be hard for them when they start growing up and decide that they want to do something like this. They might get lost for in a while, they might not be able to find their way to a right guru or whatever. If the old man, me's still alive, you can always ask me and I'll give them a hand, I'll tell them everything I know. But the point is, every generation that gets taught this stuff is going to have an easier and easier time. And it won't be very long until we are all aware that we intend a reality. And then hopefully this shit gets taught in schools. Which is probably why, we have this virus, keeping everybody home and all this shit. I'm not saying it's done on purpose to keep us away from each other, but we're all staying at home and we're able to get this information faster to us instead of, going to work and then going to fucking the bars after, getting fucking loaded and doing things, like that. We can actually focus on our spirituality more than before. So it's not a bad thing, it's actually a really good thing for us to take our lives seriously and try to take control of our lives and do what's right. So that's kind of what I mean. We're in that phase for those who understand it, those can do it. But I don't think, you know what I mean? You gotta understand, like, if these things are real phases, okay, does that mean everybody in our culture gets to just intend the reality the way they want? Or do the people that didn't believe it all of a sudden just like, ooh, I believe? No, I think we gotta form these ages. I don't think these ages that happen, these golden ages or whatever the case is, I don't think they just fucking happen. You know what I mean? I can't see that at all. I don't believe that. I don't think they just fucking happen whatsoever. I think we have to all collectively get there. But some people are gonna get there before others. Some people are gonna believe this shit. They're going to have a hard time believing it. Some people are going to believe the wrong stuff because, there's people out there that can't do it, so they don't want others to do it, so they fuck with other people's abilities to do it. You know what I mean? So, but I think we're in that stage right now, and I think everybody that believes this stuff and is having success with it, your best bet. And it's up to you. You don't have to come out here and talk about what you've done, what you can do. I mean, you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. I mean, that's all on you. But if you think we should all be getting to this place, then the more people that come out here and actually talk about how they're doing it and the ways they've done it and specific examples of how they've done it, you know what I mean, as honest as you can be, if there's something you gotta leave out because you're embarrassed, well, that's fine, but your best bet is just to be brutally honest and just tell people where you fucked up so they don't make the same mistakes, and tell people where you got it right, Sorry for the hot here as fuck. But I truly believe that that's where we are, and like I said, I don't think we get to just sit back and wait until we get to that golden age. I think we gotta make it, and I don't think it's gonna take very long at all for us to make this golden age, because people are in that place right now, whether you want to believe it or not. I'm in the beginning stages of it. Yes, I can intend my reality, if that's where you want to put it. I can, do magic specifically to whatever the case is. And I've had many successes. And now I basically only use it to, if something is really bad, if I have, and desperate magic's bad magic, so, my results vary when I do this, and that's why my wife's got to tell me, like, when she starts seeing something happen financially that, isn't going to be a very good thing, situation, whatever the case may be, right? She got to tell me almost right away so that I'm aware of it, so it doesn't get to the point of desperation. But that being said, like, I've had success with having to pay bills and, you know, not having the money for our mortgage for whatever reason. Close came out, we forgot about something, we didn't have the extra money, now there's not enough. I mean, not like our whole mortgage payment was gone, but we don't have enough to cover the mortgage payment, right? Now it's like 100 less, it's like, fuck, mortgage, this, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like, different things like that. I've had success in just getting those things to work out whichever way I needed them to. But generally, you know, you look at the planets, the stars, where the moon is, and kind of work around that and think, what comes to mind about that placement, that sign, you know, the moon, that sign, what comes to mind, and what would be the best way for this to work out for me, you know, that kind of thing. So, anyways, so that's kind of what I do whenever that happens. I've had many successes, but it's like I'm not trying to go for broke here. I'm not trying to constantly have more money coming to me. I do multiple candles saying that I'm financially secure. I'm so grateful for all the financial success that's continuously increasing our salaries and our income. I do that often, you know what I mean? Up until recently, I've been doing a candle every day until I started this job. Now, I think it was like Wednesday, and then I'm catching up because I was like 2 candles behind for the days, so appropriate hour, I made a candle for, you know, Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday I do it for Mercury. But now I'm behind Thursday, Friday. No, I did one for Thursday and Friday, but I did them both on Friday. And now I'm behind Saturday and Sunday. So today I have to do a Saturday candle, a Sunday candle, and a Monday candle. But the last time I did this, it was right before, and I didn't even start working yet, but I was behind a few candles. So sorry, I forgot Mercury's candle. So on Saturday, I did Mercury candle, and I did Jupiter candle, and I think I did Saturn candle. I think, something like that. I ended up working out like that. I'm not going to be completely, it's not completely correct, but I don't remember that how it worked out. So anyways, the following Wednesday came around on Mercury Day, and I didn't a candle yet, and that's whenever we went to Austin's appointment, or he found out he no longer had fucking epilepsy. So I had a success like that. We're doing candles together, and that candle was a candle that said, I'm so grateful for, it was one of the ones that I said, I'm removing all the illness, disease, infection, sickness, viruses from everybody in my household, replacing with, healthy cells, and having Archangel Michael protect them, and Archangel Raphael, I'm pretty sure I made the sigil on that candle, and, asking him to look over my family, and if there's anything wrong with them, diagnosing it, getting it fixed, and then keeping it protected after. Something to that effect, And, lo and behold, Austin has no more epilepsy on the following Wednesday. So that's the last thing I was thinking about it. That's the last thing I was thinking about it, so. Anyways, so.
No worries, let me know if there's any other books or any confusion on any theory related to books or any concept. And if I know something about it, I'll help. I'm not sure where you are in your initiation or transformation, but take it step by step. And don't be too hard on yourself if you start the work and think you should doing more. I used to be insanely hard on myself when I started my curriculum and studied and practiced non-stop. Try to maintain balance if possible. And if you haven't started and may not know where or how, and use it as excuse to keep learning, but not put into action, then just start with something you do know. For me was temple room and altar and candle magic, and I had entire ritual process wrong. But it wasn't until I made choice to start ritual magic that my subcon or divine or spirit could give me the proper procedure. Anyways, I wish you success. And have no doubt you'll do well since you've actually took time to email someone. and begin the process, and to a certain degree you've already made the choice to go on this path or journey. Now it's to realize what you are, and like and want, and what may be programming from society, family, TV, so on, but with time, it will all be revealed. Just lead you mind or subconscious mind where you want it to reveal. Wisdom, meaning what you focus on, is where you lead it and show devotion, and you get the answers you need. And if that takes too long, message me, and potentially I may be able to help. Thanks again for reaching out. Corey LeBlanc, aka the Ceremonial Witch.
Besides the point, I was getting into the golden age and us intending our reality and how this works, and I re-listened to like most of some of the stuff I already said just so I can fucking close out things, and nothing is coming to my mind that I wanted to close out here. When I think about the message that I wrote her, that was the message I rewrote to her. I guess one part I remember right now at this time is about her taking action and emailing me about those books. So an older podcast of mine, and the video, I made a video about this first message she sent me. I want to say probably about 5 videos ago, but that may or may not be accurate. Anyways, so on that video, I put the books she wanted in the YouTube video, in the podcast that went along with that video, and in the original podcast that she asked me, because what I did initially was taking The Sorcerer's Secret or Financial Sorcery, one of those two, and because Science of Breath was on YouTube. It's a YouTube video. You can listen to that book on YouTube. You don't have to download shit. But the other two, Qigong and Kunjiin, is great. It's about doing microcosmic orbit. It's just like the first beginning part, which the microcosmic orbit will heal you. I swear to God. I have no doubt in my mind it will, because it does me. I did the microcosmic orbit yesterday. Like I said, on my playlist, I have a video there, and it's a hypnosis, which it really isn't, but it doesn't hypnotize you. But saying that word hypnosis makes people, ooh, look at it and all that, and I get it. It kind of is some type of self-hypnosis, but not really, because you're not putting yourself into a deep trance where you're in theta and someone's putting things into you. That's technically what hypnosis would be, when you're in that deep theta brainwave state where your conscious isn't there and your subconscious is there. I mean, if you really listen to hypnosis, the real hypnosis that did shit and talk to people under deep, they're basically talking to their subconscious. They found, this is a way people found how to talk to the thing we call the subconscious. They put somebody in a deep trance or deep theta brainwave state, and their conscious is completely out of the way, and the subconscious can come out and tell that person what the fuck's wrong with this person, what this person needs. And then they could even ask it other questions, because depending on who you talk to, but if it's Edgar Casey or Dolores Cannon, they were talking to something, and it would be the same voice, it would be the same sound, it would always be the same person. Through every different human being, it would be the same audio, I guess, coming out of this human being from the same, and they just said the collective. Okay, so collective unconscious or consciousness, I guess, would be the collective unconscious, because the person's consciousness is out of the way. But anyways, so that would be technically what hypnosis is. So this isn't necessarily hypnosis, but if you do that, I fast forward it to 13 minutes, and that's where he starts talking about the Danancian, and from there, depending on the day of the week, yesterday was Sunday, so when it said what color is it, which way is it swirling, like I said, instead of telling you it's yellow and it's going to the right or clockwise, it does it properly to the point it makes your mind see it. So it guides your mind to see what it wants you to see, but it doesn't tell you what you're supposed to see. Because if you start visualizing it and it's green and it's going counterclockwise, and all of a sudden he says it's yellow and it's going clockwise, it's like, whoa, that's not what I saw. So that's what I mean by good versus bad hypnosis, or whatever you want to call that. It's meditations, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. But I did that, and I mean, after I do the fourfold breath for the minute before I have to bring my energy, the swirling energy down. It's like it's in your Danancian, and then it has to go down to your sexual. What the hell do they call it? Holy fuck! I can't even think of it. Got the door.
I'd like for your unconscious mind to be aware of your sexual organs. Ovaries for the sexual center, testicles for number. This is the sexual center. Number 2. And when I say now, guide and move the spiraling key down to the sexual center, creating a strong and radiant link to sexual organs. Begin to become aware of the area down at the base of your groin. This is called the perineum. We will come back as you guide your key from the lower dantian down to the sexual center and down to the perineum.
Oh man, I can't even think about it. But the sexual organs basically is your sexual energy center, and then you have to bring it down to like the ground energy center, but it's a different name. And then you bring it down to your feet, and then it has to go back up to the ground energy center. I can't think of the name. I can't think. It starts with a P, first one. But anyways, it comes out the back, and then it goes back up to the sexual center, which is on the back of you though at this point, and then it goes into the door of life, which is like halfway up your back, and then it's at the bottom of your skull, or the bottom of your skull, and then it goes to your crown, it goes to your third eye, and then your tongue has to go to the top of your mouth. Your tongue has to go to the top of your mouth, and it goes there, and it comes down your throat on the outside, and then heart, and then solar plexus, and then there. But I don't even get through that first fucking one, and I'm fucking. It's not tingly. It's not like when you fall asleep you get that tingly feeling, but it's like a blissful state. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel it doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes it just feels good to be laying there, and other times it feels like a body buzz almost, but not quite. It's not like I'm on shrooms or anything like that. Like I don't remember what that feels like, to be honest. It's been so long. But point is, I don't know how to explain it, but it felt great. And I'm conscious because I can hear my wife upstairs. She's coming out of the bath. I hear her upstairs. I'm still fucking visualizing all this energy around me, right? It's continuously going around me, okay? And then, like, towards the end, you have to make it bigger, bigger, bigger. Then you reverse it around you. So, but the first part he does is just opening all these energy centers for you. But so I do the fourfold breath while he's just, working up the Dan Ancien and getting the colors right and getting you to visualize which way it's going and getting all that fucking very vivid in your head. By the time I get probably to the third eye, because it takes a while to get to the next part because he has to make you touch up and down and really get that going. Sometimes I'm already in like a visualization or a dream, and as soon as I bring it back to what I'm doing, and he might already be at the solar plexus, so then I gotta say, okay, I bring the energy there, then I bring the energy here, then I bring the energy here, then I bring, and then I'm back on that. By the time I get back with him, I'm in that state, that blissful state, and it feels great, and I don't want anybody to come down and ruin it. I don't know if you ever heard that video, The Dark Side of Meditation. It's like a ad. Sometimes you're trying to meditate, and then there's whatever in the background. It's something we call it Dark Side of Meditation. Yeah, it's kind of like that. You got this great feeling, and you don't want to have to get up for any reason, but it's not like I don't get angry. I just say what I need to say to whoever's talking to me, and I tell them I'm meditating to please just give me 10 more minutes. And that lasted 20 minutes. I got up after that and I felt like $1,000,000. And I'm not saying I healed my cancer or anything like that, because I don't have cancer. I am free from cancer. But what I'm saying is, I was working 2 jobs at one point. I was doing roofing from 8 to 4 roughly, sometimes 3, sometimes 5. And then I would go to CHEP, which was an 11 to 7 shift. So I'd work from 11 to 7 a.m. I'd go, this was when I was still on Suboxone. I'd go to my clinic, get my fucking Suboxone, and then I'd fucking meditate for 20 minutes. And I'd take the Suboxone, and if I didn't do the meditation in between, I'd be good for the first 4 hours, and then I was toast. With the meditation in between, I could last 8 hours at that job. I'd crash when I got home. Like, I'm not saying I was good to go, I didn't need to sleep, no. But it got me through my day. I would do this in between that every single time. Once the first time I did it, it worked. It was amazing. And say it's because of meditating, and 20 minutes of meditating is like a few hours of sleep. Like an hour of meditation is like 8 hours, something to that effect. So then that means half an hour is 4 hours. That means 20 minutes would be like 2 hours and something like that. So maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's just I'm getting that fast, rapid healing that sleep gives you in a small, maybe. But I'm telling you, I didn't need sleep last night. And I was just feeling kind of lousy and down and, whatever. Tomorrow's Monday. Ugh. Wonder what's going to happen. Start worrying about things that, and I know better than to do that. So I do that, and then it's completely gone off my mind. I had a great night with my wife, and everything was great after that. So it heals. All right, so the last thing I was talking about was the microcosmic orbit healing. But that's not what I wanted to talk about, but it was just a segue to talk about how it can heal. And it's more like once again, not the newest one Thunder Wizard made, but the one before that.
I think it's in that one anyways, he breaks down meditation. Someone asks him if it's better to meditate for 2 hours or 30 minutes or something like that, and he actually tells them it depends on what practice you're doing. And he says, the question you're asking me, do I have to go for 2 hours because I don't want to meditate that long or something like that? I forget how he words it all, but he's like, and he gets into other things saying, well, this could be meditation, this could be meditation, and he's absolutely right. The meditation, in the sense of what I just explained with the microcosmic orbit, that is like a healing meditation that makes you feel great. It makes you be able to take your conscious mind out of the way so the subconscious can talk to you. But the reason why the microcosmic orbit is more of a healing meditation, it's to balance the energies within you. So, there's many ways you can do this. There is simply witchcraft practices of making roots come out of your feet. You visualize roots out of your feet, and whatever you want, colors or whatever visualization you want to represent the dark energy inside of you. Could be like if you're feeling anxious or depression, well, you give that a signification, you give that some kind of representation. So you're visualizing yourself, there's roots grow into the ground way deep into the earth, they fucking lock, and you're connected to the earth at this point. From there, you see maybe it's a black, maybe it's a brown, maybe whatever it is, and you see that coming through your body, going out of your roots into the ground, and you see Mother Earth, whatever you want to call her, Gaia, whatever, you see her renewing that energy. We're like recycling it and just turning it back into energy that she can use for whatever. So you're getting rid of something, but you're also giving the earth something that she can use. She doesn't care if it's bad or good, she can use it. Because sometimes you need bad energy, sometimes you need good energy. And then from there, I visualize, something coming from source into me to strengthen my aura, strengthen my body, whatever the case is, okay? That's one way. The other way is the magnet one. This one's good to do when you're laying down in bed. You lay down in bed, you visualize a magnet. You have the 6 sides of your body, okay? 6 raised star, 6 sides of your body. So if you're laying down flat, horizontally, okay, that's your body. Magnet comes on top, sucks all these like iron shavings out of you, okay? Or maybe lead for Saturn or whatever the case is, okay? All these shavings that are all negativity or harmful energy. Don't say negative energy. Harmful energy. Sucks it out, goes to the magnet. One comes below you, sucks it all out. One goes to your feet, sucks it all out, goes to your head, sucks it all out, goes to the other side of your body, goes to the side of your body. All these also go into the ground and renew. And then you see the same process happen from whatever source, the universe, top, boom, 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 boom. Same process, really. That one I got from Frater Xavier. He says because of his Pisces placement, he has to cleanse his energy regularly. So if you have a strong Pisces placement, or you think you're an empath, or whatever that means to you, because I'm very empathic as well, I take on people's energy very easily. This is something that will very much help you out. If you can be disciplined enough to do this every single day until you know how to protect your energy from other people. And that might sound new agey, and I don't give a fuck, but people that are like me will understand what I'm saying, and they won't knock it. So if you want to diss me, I don't give a fuck, but I know what I'm talking about. Birch, Frater Xavier also say the similar things in different fucking words, but you can take on other people's energy. This is why if you're around 5 people that you want to be like, you'll become like them. If you're around 5 people that are running themselves into the ground and doing bad things, well, eventually you will become like them. But anyway, so those are different practices and different ways of doing that. But the microcosmic orbit is a little bit different, is where there's your chi, it's this energy that's within your body that you don't really know about. And if you look up some of the videos, and I made podcasts about this, where there's one guy, he's got a board and he teaches you about it, what happens to normal people with this energy, okay? It comes through them one way and then ends up going the other way back out, and it never gets through all their energy centers. So what you're doing is you're using your conscious mind to consciously direct this energy around your body. But you're you're conscious out of the way enough that you can visualize and keep visualizing while you're not really consciously doing it. You're visualizing happening. So you're connecting all these energy centers and this energy within you. And by doing that, it makes you feel great. I don't know how to explain it, but if you read those books, it'll explain it better to you. Because I can go through what I remember about the books and the explanations and all that, but it's not going to mean much until you actually do it and you feel it. But anyways, the whole point of that was to explain about the books that I give this person. So my old podcast, I ended up taking pictures of all the pages. So if someone wanted to read the book, they can go on my YouTube page and read the book by pausing reading it, pausing it, reading the next page, pausing it, whatever the case was. And I think I actually tried playing it as well, but I don't think those were there. I think they were removed, whatever, for whatever reason. So I put all the PDF files on that old podcast, then on the new YouTube video and on the new Spreaker. So that's what this was all about when that girl sent me that. So what I meant by the ending of my response to her, because she made the comment, I believe it's she made the comment, I can't remember her name, and I know if I start saying names I'll say it, but I don't want to say her name. But anyways, by her reaching out to me, okay, because she saw my podcast and she could just keep going on to every podcast and learning about it, and then because every one of my podcasts talk about something differently. So instead of moving on, she wanted to read those books that I said were great, because like The Science of Breath, Qigong and Kunjian, and then The Sorcerer's Secrets, all have breath exercises in them. And the Sorcerer's Secrets also has different sigil magic and other magics you can use at the same time. So it's kind of like an all-in-one book. It's a great book, by the way. But to start healing your body, it really has to start at breath. Absolutely, positively. So, but anyways, the point was she was taking initiative. She wanted these books. She sent me a message asking if these books were still available. And if they couldn't get them or whatever, I left a comment saying, or in my description, if you can't access these books for whatever reason, or you want the PDFs, hit me up. And she took the initiative and she did that. So that's amazing. And so that's what I meant. Like, I know she's going to go far because something in her told her to reach out and take action and follow through on this. This is important. So something in her told her this is important. So who knows? For anything from, something inside of her realized that what I was saying is important for her specific time in her life. But the point is, by her doing that, she's taking action, and that's awesome. So that's why I said don't be too hard on yourself if you don't feel like you're doing enough, because by doing that step alone, by reaching out and saying, hey, are these books still available? She just took more action than most people would have already by just watching it and whatever. And okay, I'll get to those books later on. So she's already ahead of the game. And I have no doubt in my mind, if she starts reading those, she's going to have her mind blown. And if she starts doing the practices, everything's going to work out. So I'm not saying that to be like, oh, this is like your confirmation that everything you're trying to manifest is coming to you soon. Because I can't make a statement like that. I don't fucking know who's watching me and, what she's doing. But I do know if she does do those practices and they resonate with her, she will heal and be able to do things. Because not only does breathing correctly and doing practices like the microcosmic orbit and doing the different breath techniques in both the Hindu yogi science of breath and in the Sorcerer's Secrets book, not only do those breath techniques help you heal, help you have more energy, help the internal energy, help you have more prana, help you have more ideas and thoughts and connect to spirit, because it does all that. But not only does it do that, it also, I don't know how to explain it, but it empowers you in a weird way. And you never feel like there's nothing you can do. So you're having a shitty day, things aren't going your way. But now you know these techniques that if you can take 5 minutes and just go in your car, go in the bathroom, you can breathe for 5 minutes and bring yourself back to this neutral or even positive state just through breath work. It's so incredible. And that's why I spent so much time this summer talking about breath work, and even before the summer when all this fucking COVID hit, because putting a mask over our mouth, not saying to not wear the mask, I can't say that and I don't want to say that, but the point is, whenever our breath and the way we breathe and the way we intake and inhale and exhale and all that and taking in extra carbon dioxide, when that starts happening, that's bad news, okay? Especially in the Hindu yogi science of breath, it says it right at the beginning, right in the fucking either the preface or the introduction, that all it would take is one generation of correct breathers to heal this planet. Because I'm not kidding when I tell you that if you breathe right, you get more intuition or divine inspiration or energy or channeled messages, whatever you want to fucking call it, downloads, it doesn't matter. You get more of that just by breathing correctly. There's a reason why air in the East is connected to spirit. It's why all the air, breath, spirit, all these words are the same in Greek and other languages. That it's because it's connected to that. Spirit has its own point on the pentagram, absolutely, and it deserves it. But it's connected to
the east to sun to gas. What's gas? It's air. You know, the sun gives life, right? It's a gas ball. It's not actually a fireball. That's why it's not in the fucking south where fire is. So by her taking up these books and reading these books, that's like the first step in her path. And you know, just by getting those books and having those books on their phone or computer, it does something to you. Even if you don't read them, it does something. You know what I mean? And you don't even have to read them. You can fucking put it on, put headphones on, and go to bed. You know, and you'll start knowing stuff regardless. But anyways, enough about that. What I'm supposed to be talking about is the golden age, and you know why I believe we are in the beginning of the golden age. And like I said previously, we are making the golden age. The golden age isn't just something that happens. Like, we're flying around the fucking sun. The sun's flying through space. We're flying around the sun. The moon's flying around us. You know, all the planets are coming with us. We're all going this, getting to the photon belt. So that's why it's hotter right now. And all this shit and global warming. And, you know, if we get out of the photon belt, there'll be no more global warming. Who knows if that's true or not? All I'm saying is that's what some scientists are saying right now. You know, and all of a sudden we get closer to whatever and further from whatever. And, you know, because apparently I think it's Sirius, which is the because our sun is in, it's got its pair, it's double, right? It's in a binary with something else, and some people say it's Sirius, but apparently Sirius is going like this, and we're going the opposite way, you know. So anyways, apparently, so whenever that thing's furthest from us is technically when we're in, you know, whatever ages are the worst ages, where we're physical matter to the max, and then the closer we get to it is the golden age, and we just keep going around like this, basically, right? So we're cruising around, we're following the sun around, and whoever knows is whoever's following around Sirius. But when we get closer to that, this one interpretation, I'm not saying that's accurate, but closer that our sun gets to its other better half, you know what I mean? That's the golden age. That's whenever whatever. And you can say, well, we're not near there, and this is what they're saying, but you know, I'm not one to say that people suppress information or whatever, but I'm telling you right now, if we were in a golden age and there was a chance that we could just use our thoughts, coordination with action, and our emotion to manifest a reality, the people running things, if they thought there was some truth to this, or even if that's what they do, I'm not saying they wouldn't want this knowledge to get out, but at the same time, they're not just going to give it to you, because you can't just hand this knowledge. So it's hard to explain, but it's not, I don't know if it's actively suppressed or not. Okay. There probably is some active suppression out there. You know, there's every extreme, right? But for me, for the most part, what I know is, if you believe this is true and you believe this could help humanity, you can't just go up there like, did you hear the good news? We could create our own reality, going door to door like the Christians. What's going to happen? They're going to get mocked at. They're going to laugh at. You can't do that, right? So people that figure it out on their own now have a place to let this information out via YouTube, via podcast, via whatever. And people who seek out that knowledge can find these people. So we have finally a safe way to do it. So even if the people, the ruling elites, whoever, if they knew this, whether you think they're evil or not, you can call it suppression, but it's more like you can't give swine pearls, because they'll just eat the pearls and keep asking for more pearls just to waste them, okay? They have to come into this knowledge on their own. That's what it's more, to me, anyways, my opinion, that's what it is to me. So it's not active suppression, because they don't want the masses to know this. They need the masses to figure this out. And you can follow this line, this thought, all the way down to, you know, all the evil stuff that happens in the world and all the suppression and all this. It's just forcing us to find the light. Because like I said, if I'm right, and part of your initiation into this, part of what makes you come into the occult is going through the first stages of fear-based media. Well, if there isn't fear-based media there to push you into the occult or learn these secrets that have to remain secret until the person is ready for it, well, if that stuff's not there, then this process doesn't happen. So as much as I want to say fucking evil, and I don't like the media, and they're putting us against each other, and all they do is focus on negativity, which I agree with,
it serves a purpose, and this is the purpose for us to realize that we have to turn off the fucking TV and fix our fucking lives, that what we're doing is not right and we can fix it. And it starts with us. After we fix ourselves, we will fix, it'll reach out to our families. At first, our families will very much rebel against us and say, that's weird, that's not normal, you shouldn't be doing that. And if you have people that love you, then once you start getting results, like if you're just an armchair armchair occultist, you read all this stuff and you believe the guy's telling you it. So you watch Frederick Xavier and all these other testimonials happen. So you go around telling your family, look what all these people did. We should do this. But you haven't done it yet. They're going to say, are you that gullible? You just believe whatever you see on TV? That's actually a valid point. You shouldn't just believe whatever you see. But if you take the time, put it in practice, don't tell them what you did, and then they start seeing your results, and then they want to know what you're doing. Well, you say, well, I started off with this and this and this. But instead of just saying, hey, I did what this crazy fucker did on the internet, you say, well, this is what I did. And maybe you do step by step, and you start showing them a little bit by little bit, because if you give them too much all at once, they're just going to be overwhelmed and it's done with. But by doing it smartly and just focusing on yourself and changing your life, you will change everybody's life around you. And then your kids will have kids, and they will change their kids' lives, and they'll change their kids' lives. And it will snowball until we will finally evolve and we will make the golden age happen. So regardless if maybe it is easier when we get to that certain point, when we get to that epoch, when we get to that eon, when we get to that age, maybe it makes it easier when we get there. Probably. That's probably part of it. But I'm not completely against the idea that, if this knowledge is around and people can have it, we are in an age where we can send information so fast that everybody's walking around with a cell phone, which has got better technology than the first fucking rockets had that went to space, if you believe in such things or not, But point is, the technology we walk around in our fucking pocket or we drive around in our car is so advanced that we can talk to everybody at the same fucking time. We are in a fucking a plague, as far as I can tell, that, for a while we all had to stay in our homes. It's kind of eased up now, but who knows what's going to happen. But we can still communicate with the whole world during this plague. You know what I mean? So there are key things where people need to interact with other people for health and all that. That is true. Babies have to be held and loved by their mother or they will die. That's proven. So, it's hard to have a baby in this time and age and all that, but, but the point is, we can make it the golden age right now. And I'm convinced that that's what we're doing right now. So we may not be in the golden age right now, but when I'm an old fucking man, I'm going to see this golden age start. Because I'm already seeing it start. I'm already seeing, for as much crap that might be happening in this world, there's going to be a time. I made a video not that long ago that if you're getting into the occult, and I think it was right before, it was my Age of Aquarius video, which I think was before COVID hit. And what I was saying was the Age of Aquarius is the time where everybody realizes that we can create a reality, that there's a part of us that actually creates a reality as we go. And all our realities are interconnected. They play off each other's. Collective consciousness plays a part in this as well. But ultimately, there's something that you've been programming your whole life that keeps playing out your life. You program it up to a certain point and it plays out. Your past stuff is creating your present and your future as you go. But if you want to change it, well, in the present, you can change the future programming. So that's why your initiation takes a certain amount of time. So you stop saying negative self-talk. You stop saying the things that keep reperpetuating the program that's going to keep playing out in the future, which is always the present, right? But, next week is about to happen. But you stopped saying bad things 3 weeks ago. So next week, it's like, okay, well, the programming that he was saying, he stopped saying. And now he's trying to say that, he's found his passion and purpose, and he's making a living through his passion and purpose. So we got to find his passion and purpose, So you're starting to put energy into that. So maybe you start making these fucking videos and people start following you, and all of a sudden your channel gets big, and then boom, then you start making that your future. So what I'm trying to say is, when you start this process, you are putting the program in you that everything's possible, and that you are now cognizant, you are now aware that you create your reality to a certain degree. Like, you don't actually create it, but you're in touch with the part of you, the divine part of you, that does create reality. The God part of you, the half of you that's God, that you can't talk to.
but you can. But anyway, so there's a part of you that creates reality. That's what the Age of Aquarius was for me when I made that video. I don't know if that's what it is anymore for me now, but I still stand by that video because, I stand by everything I said. So, and that was before COVID hit when I said all that shit. But where the fuck was I going with that? I had a point to that. There's something else I said in that fucking video that I wanted to bring up that was important. Anyways, it'll come back to me if it is that important. But the point is, when I said in that video was we're creating a reality, and that's what everybody is coming to that. And there haven't been a time on the planet where this information has been, because they've never been able to suppress the occult information. You can look at old documentaries about all this stuff, and every time it's been kiboshed, it's always come back. But now, unless every archive, every hard drive that holds videos and data and stuff on the internet is destroyed, we can't get rid of it. It's so full blown. The only thing I can do is put in misdirection in there to stop it, and I'm not convinced that that's what's happening either. But the point is, we are the beginning. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. If you are getting into the occult now, right before this Age of Aquarius hits full blown, because soon it's going to be the trendy thing to do. I mean, it's already pretty trendy and fucking popular to be new age and into all this fucking being vegan and, being spiritual and meditating and liking Buddha and all that. It's already getting pretty fucking hit, but I mean, it's not a majority. It's still a minority thing. But if you are someone who's been talking about this for a while and has a following and people, and you have products and you made stuff, well, when everybody gets into it, when it becomes like something huge that everybody finally realizes, when this golden age is in full fucking flex, if you're one of those people that started recording it and talking about it, whether you're small time or big time, you are going to be looked at as a guru, someone who's done it, put it in the crucible, and got the effects. You did something and you caused an effect and it worked. And if you have that knowledge out there somewhere people can go that are getting into this, well, you are going to be successful just on that. So it's never been a better time to get out here and start practicing these things and putting them into practice and doing them, because before you know it, this is what's going to happen. Because we can talk about generations, my generation, but there's like every generation, right? There's different decades. Like I was born in 86, so from 86 to 95 is like a 10-year decade point, right? But normally you'd go from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000, 2010, 2020, right? So there's like a different decade of generations of people always dying off, of people being born. So all the kids being born now, if their parents are into this stuff and their siblings are into this stuff, well, it's just going to keep trickling down to the point where the new generations, this is going to be common knowledge. If we do it properly, if we don't fight within our little cliques, like the witches against the shamans, against the ceremonial magicians, against the hoodoo practitioners, against the Christian witches, against the New Agers, against all these the Satanists and the Luciferians and all these different, who cares? Why can't we all be the counterculture that wants to be the culture? When our culture could be whatever culture you want, whatever spirituality that works for you, that you resonate with, that has the same formula but just different deities or a different way to get the end result. Who cares if we're different? If we can offer something that helps people evolve and get the life they want, to a certain degree, you can't just hand someone, okay, this is how you get what you want, because if someone's not evolved enough, then they just might want impulsive desires. And that's why, like I said, I think it was my last video, that it wasn't until I stayed home with my youngest baby. I was on autopilot. I was just running out my programming that I had to go to school, after school, get a job, have kids, get married, all that shit. Well, get married and then have kids, but I did the opposite. I had kids and then I got married. You know what I mean? I was just following my programming. And then I got to this point where after I had my last kid, I got to stay home with her. And then Saturn chakra opened. And then I was just out of my autopilot. I said, whoa. And watching all that stuff just fucked with my programming so hard, because something told me what I'm looking at, it was telling me what my programming wasn't true. And then that this was true. And it was just like, oh my God, I don't know what's real anymore, And it fucked me up. And it's a terrible place to be in. So, I mean, that's why when people come out here telling people that, they aren't eating babies, they aren't doing this, they aren't doing that, that knowledge is good to tell people. But in the same sense, sometimes people need that knowledge just to wake them the fuck up, They need to see that shit, it needs to scare them enough, and then they can start their evolution and they come to the realization that that shit's just there
for that reason. You know what I mean? But the point I'm trying to get at was I was just running my fucking programming up until that point, and now I'm cognizant and I can. But if I would have had this knowledge then, I would have been like, okay, well, I want $1 million, so I don't have to work anymore. And you know what I mean? It would have been just impulsive desires I was chasing. You don't want to chase your impulsive desires. You want to chase the desires or the goals or the purpose or your passion, the thing that you want to do that gives you life, that you don't care about money when you're doing, that time flies by. You don't even think about time anymore when you're doing it. That thing, if you can make a profit off of that and share that, and then you're going to work, but you're still happy. And then you come home with your family and you're still happy. And you're able to pay the bills and give your kids what they want, so they're happy. So every part of your life is good. And then the only thing that happens is, the tragedy that, you lose the people you love eventually. And then, if people don't take care of themselves, or they were born with something genetic or whatever the case is, then there's disease. But then there's also that, if there is a certain part of us that we can contact to heal or talk to add suggestions for our future, well, then we can technically change that. Then we can just die of old age and die of natural causes if potentially we can get that far. But this hasn't been tested long enough, or at least not from what I know, that we can just beat disease. But there's people going in remission and being diseased every day from different ways. So none of this shit's impossible. But I guess what I was trying to say here is, if you get into it now and you start this process now, like the person that emailed me, those asking about those books, she's going to be a guru if she wants to be. I mean, I don't know what her plan is. Maybe she's just getting this. But if she practices what it says in those books, and whether she's going the witchcraft way or ceremonial magic or some other way, as long as she follows a process that she tries to become depolarized enough so that she can see where she's programmed, which is another very important thing about depolarization that I don't think I talk about enough. Becoming depolarized helps you find your polarity, where you're polarized and where you're programmed. So when you become depolarized, you don't care so much about being poor or rich or good looking or whatever. Like I said, I used to have to work out before work. I used to have to shave my body if I knew I was going swimming, taking off my shirt. I don't give two fucks about that so much anymore. At times, right? I'm not going to say I'm not vain at all, but that's where you can see your program. So I knew I had programming that, I was insecure about myself and I always wanted to look better. All these different, it's easier to identify your programming. And that's kind of what I meant by that part where I said, once you start this process, you start getting information. And then the trick is to see how much of what you see is you. I forget how I worded it, but what's you and what's programming from your family, from society or whatever. And then from there, when you become depolarized, you can detach from that programming, because it no longer holds water anymore, which is another part of that whole Saturn chakra thing. Because like, you believe in Jesus and God and all that, and you think there's a heaven and hell, and all of a sudden you see all this crazy shit where the most successful people in the world are eating babies and doing satanic worship. It's like, well, how's that possible? They should be in hell. They shouldn't be rich. The meek and the poor are gonna inherit the earth. Like, that's what Jesus said, and it doesn't make sense. It clashes. So it breaks that programming down. And then, at first you get scared, like, holy fuck, this is a scary world. There is no Christ, there is no God, and you can do this shit and still be successful. It's like, But then you realize that shit's just bullshit, and it's not true. It's not actually happening. I mean, maybe to a certain extent, there's some of that is true, right? There's some evil shit and some sick fucks in this world, but it's not at the scale that they're promoting out there. So it helps you separate from your programming, and you can get rid of what's what, and then from a neutral state you can figure out what is your passion and your bliss, what it is that you want to do, what lights it up, what makes you forget time. Like right now, I didn't even know I was talking for half an hour. I've already talked for over an hour and a half in this fucking video. I think I'm probably close to 2 hours right now. I didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? I love it. I could talk about philosophy and psychology and magic for hours on end. You know what I mean? And I can get lost in a book about it, and I could write about it, and I could practice this for hours on end. So I know part of this is something I'm so passionate about. But is it the way I'm supposed to make money? I don't know. But maybe it will happen. But that's what I'm trying to say. I am convinced that this will be the norm soon. That more and more people are going to get results from this. I mean, look at the ads on YouTube. These guys are teaching the way they used occult knowledge, meditation, and getting suggestions into their subconscious mind, and how they got successful doing that. That they're paying for these ads somehow. You know what I mean? So it's becoming more and more popular. So it's never been a better time to just shut off the fucking YouTube. At least if you're watching 8 hours of YouTube a day, 2 hours, and then
Start your practice, even if that's figuring out stuff. You know, spend 3 hours a day figuring out where you're going to put your altar, what do you want to practice, where you're going to start, what book, start reading the curriculum, whatever it is. But limit your time. And when you are on there, put on testimonials that prove and program in your mind that this shit, when you do it, is going to work 100%. So I'm supposed to get into the symbolism I use, exactly how to program or how to get stuff into my subconscious mind, how to change my reality. But since I've already talked for so long, I guess that's going to be in my next episode. But if I have it on here, I'll leave you with a clip of Thunder Wizard saying, channeling, for you to, he explains how for him, for his makeup, for how he is, his design, he has to do a martial art type of energy practice work, and that's how he downloads the energy to speak about. But, and he gets in, he goes and says, but that could be writing for you, that could be meditation, that could be incantation. He goes through all these things, and I'm like, it blew my mind when he said that. It's like I can see the man, you know, before my eyes evolving, and you know, it's amazing. I feel bad about the videos I made. I'm not going to take them down, but I do feel bad about it because, you know, anyways. I still think my video served a point, but I don't think he's no longer in scarcity, so that's good news. But anyways, I'll probably leave you with that video if I have it on here, and if this thing's already like 2 hours or more, then I'm just going to cut it off here. I hope there's something of value here. There should be. But this is the first video I made on my way to work in Ottawa, and expect a whole lot more, but it's like, I don't know, almost 20 after. I never made my candle for the moon, and the full moon was like 9 o'clock this morning. Actually, I think it's 4 a.m. here on Eastern time, so I'm behind the full moon. I still have to make a candle to honor Diana, so I gotta let you go with that, y'all. But that's the best way I do stuff. I fucking write exactly that I am grateful for whatever I want, and I bind down the action not wanted, meaning free from harm is like a catch-all, but free from poverty if I'm trying to invoke money, free from disease if I'm trying to heal disease, illness, sickness, infection, viruses if I'm trying to invoke healing. You know, whatever you're trying to invoke, trying to get, you say free from the opposite of that. So you don't get the opposite first, and then whenever you get out of that, well, there you go, your manifestation happened. But you had to get sick for you to get healed. You know what I mean? So you banish what you don't want to happen. But anyways, I think that's it for today. I gotta go stuff. Anyways, have a great fucking day.
The power can't be held in any technique. You, because you're a human being, you need a technique that gives you access to this infinity. And what all masters get to, when they finally have mastered the technique and got all kinds of energy, they finally realize that, oh, this has been here with me the whole time. And then they no longer need the technique. So to give you an example, the first movement, which I'm going to teach you guys, which I do teach, the power is available to you. So I'd really like to give you the ability to drop that assumption that you're this victim and you're this tiny being and that the universe doesn't want to give you this power. That's your biggest problem right there. And all of the techniques will change. What worked 100 years ago, the techniques are going to be different now. So everything is evolving. So please get rid of that idea. Everything you can possibly imagine. But what gauges your ability to get access to that information is your understanding about how to ask questions. And how to ask questions also starts with assumptions. If you change your assumptions, you'll start asking different questions. In other words, the question that was given to me about, do you think the ruling elite are holding all the magical power? That starts from an assumption that I already pointed out, that you're limited and weak and the universe doesn't want to give you things. So that's why those people who believe that never end up with anything. Or if they do, they're trying to figure it out as though it's some secret thing and nobody will teach them. But if you start from the assumption that I have access to everything and I deserve to have everything, that means whatever I get will be the best for me right now, and I'm going to master that. Like I said, what I do, you could turn it into just your typical sort of ineffective, Chinese martial art if you wanted. That wouldn't work in the UFC, that people would, and they'd be 100% right. You slightly tweak it, which means a complete change in the way you look at it and feel it, and all of a sudden you have power, And every single, and I don't do this, I'm not looking for it, but every single MMA guy or, martial artist that has wanted to trade hands with me has walked away going, how the hell did you do that? And the only difference is that I'm not bound by the limitation of their thinking. So your questions bind you to the limitations of your questions. If you start with the assumption that I can have absolutely everything, then you can. Best, you might have half. At best, you might have half of the truth. The other half is all propaganda and fear and hearsay. On either side, drop it, please. That is my sincere suggestion for you. Dark White Wolf dropped down $5. Thank you, sir. Dark White Dire Wolf. That's kind of a cool name, actually. $5. Thank you for the new perspectives. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. Okay, Light and Darkness. Question. Did our spirituality also... Okay, so this is about your earlier question about does Darwinian evolution affect spirituality? It's a lot of thinking here. I don't know the answer to it, but maybe let's see. Question. Did our spirituality also use the power, which I could very easily use the power to manipulate people, control people, gain revenge, summon spirits. I could do all of that. I choose not to. Truthfully, I choose not to because it doesn't do anything for me. So that, by definition, makes me a white magician, but the power that I have could go either way. So just get honest with the fact that you want black magic, you want the power. The question is whether or not you have the capability of handling the power without using it in a negative way. 7LV, and of course there's a spectrum. It's the magic itself isn't white or black in terms of good or bad. It's you. Change you, and the magic is just the power. It's just all it is. Question. I've been practicing Qigong recently. It's been going really well. I'm interested to know which kind of Qigong. So who are the ruling elite? Can you name them? Is Donald Trump part of the ruling elite, or is it Hillary Clinton, or both? Is it a cadre of people in the deep state? We don't really know who they are. Or is it people that we know, like the oil companies and the drug companies? Is it not, I was watching, somebody sent me a video, but it was pure propaganda. Because if they had this stuff, they wouldn't need to have billions and trillions of dollars. The only reason that you have billions and trillions of dollars is because you feel weak. There are people with no money that have everything. Here's the thing about resources. Resources are homes, food, clothing. That's resources. There are people that don't have anything in the bank and they have all those things. And then there are people that have nothing but money in the bank and they're sick. They're miserable. Watch Wolf of Wall Street. That's a really great example. There's somebody who had all the money in the world. He was miserable. Absolutely miserable. So I wouldn't agree with that. If you're somebody that's able to tap into all this metaphysical stuff and gain real power, you understand that it's not something that anybody can suppress. Because the assumption that they have all this knowledge and they're keeping it from you, you're assuming that the universe, it's like the universe, which is all powerful, and all the beings and all of the ascended masters have all this knowledge, and they're like, well, I was going to tell you about that, but all the elites stole the information, and how can I get it to you now? They all have it. I mean, how does people get this information? They get it directly from the universe. The practice that I'm doing is something that was channeled. And the thing about it is that it's evolving with me. I'm channeling new information and creating it more and more. If I, in fact, should I tell you this? What was told to me when I first started practicing this was told to me by, the powers that be told me that I've been chosen to learn this, and if I abuse it, it'll be taken away from me. So this goes to anybody, and it's free and available to everybody. So Emu Sings, I just want to address your assumption that you're weak and being controlled and you're a victim, and the universe and the ancestors don't want to give you things, so you have to get it from somebody. And the elite stole it from you, and you have to somehow find it and get it back. You know, this whole idea that the Vatican has all this knowledge and it's keeping it in a vault. So what? Whatever they have is worthless. Because you can't suppress power. If you want power, you have to be in a state of balance within yourself. And you can't be in a state of balance within yourself if you believe that other people have control over you. So the short answer is no. When they were colonizing, they killed the shamans first. So what? Where do you think shamans come from? I mean, if you know anything about shamans, shamans are chosen by the ancestors, and they go through a spiritual transformation. And then after the spiritual transformation, they have knowledge and awareness. So assuming you're right, which you are, for instance, when Rome colonized Britain, first thing they did was they wiped out all the Druids. That's why there's Neo-Druidism, but the Neo-Druids, by their own admission, don't have any idea what the original Druids did, because all that knowledge is gone. But the power behind that knowledge is not gone, and it comes out in a different way. Here's the thing, specifics, like I keep talking about specifics. For me, the way that I'm built, I need to do these, when you look at it on the surface, they're these internal martial art forms. And if you want to turn it into a martial art that without the power, all you have to do is just slightly tweak the application, and it becomes just your normal martial art. You slightly tweak it, and then it becomes this way that you channel just unbelievable amounts of energy. What's the difference? It's hiding under this guise of being a martial art. That's the way that I need to do it because of the way that I'm built. For others, it's in meditation. For others, it's an incantation. For others, it's writing it on a piece of paper, burning it, and then drinking it. For others, it's just going into deep meditation. Whatever the technique is, because you're focused on the technique, you think that these people have these magical techniques, and those are being, even if they did have it and they're suppressing it, so what? It's just an illusion.